So, you're welcome to the World Community Development Conference 2022. Participants from 60 countries involved in this conference this year, and it's very, very good. It's so wonderful. So, as I said, my name is Nargis. I'm from Kazakhstan. I was born in Kazakhstan, but now I live in Georgia with my family, with my children. I'm a part of inclusive community, and also I'm a mother of a special child. My daughter's name is Eileen. She's 10 years old, and she has an epilepsy and autism. And now we live in Georgia, and my job is community development. I'm a practitioner in this field, and it's very interesting for me. And it's not a formal job. It's our lifestyle, and all my colleagues, they are parents of special children with disability. So you can see now Fidelis. She's our participant from Kenya. She's a volunteer. She was a presenter on our Discord platform. So now go ahead, David, and introduce yourself to our guests, to our participants, to my colleagues.
Okay, well, thank you for having me in the conference today. It's truly a privilege. And to kind of start out about myself, I've been in the U.S. for my whole life. I was actually born here. I was actually born in a small island called Puerto Rico. It's outside of, the actual U.S., but it's a Commonwealth. And I was born with cerebral palsy. So when I was born 4 months premature. And if you could hold a water bottle right now in your hand, that's how small I was. It was very small, very small. My grandfather could easily hold me in the palm of his hand. And, and it was very challenging at the beginning. My lungs were fully developed for about 3 months. So I was on a respirator. Doctor said I had 3 months to live. Then there was that challenge of, is he going to be able to live a normal life? Because he won't probably be able to read, write, or walk. He's going to be a kid confined to a wheelchair. You're going to have to provide him 24/7 care and, and just do with what you have. Then as the years went by, I lived with my my mom and my dad. Of course, at the time they were separated. So one lived in Florida, where I live now, and then my dad lived in Puerto Rico. And there were two separate households. So I have my dad who's in Puerto Rico, which I see him in the summer, and he was with my stepmom, who really stepped up to take care of me, be able to provide me therapies and stuff. And the beautiful thing about all three of my parents is that you have that aspect of co-parenting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. So basically all my parents, all three of them did their part to help me overcome the obstacles or the challenges that I was facing early on. So for example, my stepmom, she would remind my mom to take me to therapy, make sure I would go to school, do all those things, because my biological mom was 16 years old when she had me. She was just a kid herself. And you can imagine being a kid, having a child with special needs, and you have no idea how to take care of them because you're so young. And thankfully, you have someone who is willing to help you and guide you along the way. And for the 8 years she was on this earth, she had somebody to guide her. And then, unfortunately, she ended up passing away. And then we're not sure why, but then it started the all that positive energy just radiated towards the beginning of my future. So then I moved to Florida full time. Then I faced the challenges of education system. I started school in Puerto Rico, for about a year. And then over there, they were like, we're not prepared to have a student like you in the classroom because we're not inclusive. I had a teacher tell me to my face, as a child, say, "Oh, you're too slow for my classroom. I don't want you in my classroom." Even though I had straight A's, I was a good student. Because I looked different and didn't look like everybody else in the classroom, they don't want to have me, you know? And for my mom at the time, it was rough. I didn't understand because I was a child, but for my mom now, she took it very, very hard because that's your child, that's for them to say something like that, that's not right. And then I moved here to Florida. Everything was pretty smooth here. Went through elementary school, middle school, high school. Eventually, I went to college, obtained my bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Central Florida. Uh, and it's funny because as I was growing up, my mom would always remind me, take a day, where the first day, and introduce yourself to your classmates. Don't just introduce yourself, tell them about your disability and what makes you unique and what makes you different. Because once they listen to you and they realize you're not as different as they are and that you face pretty much the same challenges they do every day, then they'll be more understanding. And it's funny because you think about, and this is where I'm going to bring up persistence overcomes adversity. When you're persistent about something, you think about what is anything I could do to achieve that goal. And for me, that goal starts with advocacy. That goal starts with education. That goal starts with getting myself out there. So I would do it every year through elementary, middle school, and high school. And then as I got to college, everybody was more, understanding. It wasn't so rough. But then I had years where people would tell me, "Hey, you should be a motivational speaker. You should do this, you should do that." And I was skeptical at first because, I didn't think I had it in me to be a motivational speaker, you know. So I said, why not? Why not give it a try? It's not bad to give it a try. So I gave it a try. And after that, my very first appearance was in my university. And usually you don't jump on straight to your university to speak to a group of people. You start out in a very small location, and for me to speak at my university to be my first one, that was kind of like, whoa, you weren't expecting that. And I honestly thought no one would listen. I was thinking the worst. Rather than thinking, that I would do well, I was already thinking the worst. And that's not good when you're about to start speaking. And luckily everybody was so encouraging, um, so helpful, and they really enjoyed my story. Um, and when I graduated from UCF, which I wanted to mention, the day of graduation, it was a week before my 25th birthday, a week before Mother's Day. And it was, I think, 2 months after my mom's 22nd year passing. And I woke up that morning and I looked in the mirror and I don't believe it at first. It hadn't settled in yet that I had graduated from university. And I was just telling myself, you actually did it. And I remember going up to the arena. My family surprised me from Puerto Rico. They came as a surprise to see me. And I remember going up on stage and everybody had already been clapped out. They were so excited about everybody else, and it got quiet, and I figured everybody was tired, and I thought it's okay. And if anybody doesn't clap, I can hear my family, from afar. And it was so silent, you could hear a pen drop, and I remember going up, and they asked me, "Do you want to go up the stairs, up the ramp?" And I said, you know, for 17 long years at the moment, for 17 long years, I waited for that moment to walk up those steps and to be able to go up that stage. And I said, I'm gonna go up those stairs. So they took the cane, and little by little I went up those stairs. And if you could hear every time I took that stair, I could feel just a loud, just a wall just crumble down little by little, just crumbling. And eventually when I got up there and I took the cane and I lifted it up, that was surreal. I mean, it was about 10,000 people in that arena. That place erupted. I mean, I could barely hear what they were trying to tell me because it was so loud. People were cheering, and for about 5 minutes I had to stop the graduation because it was so emotional. For me, I broke down in tears because this was a moment that um my biological mom never got to experience. She never got to finish high school or even go to college. I became the first one in my family to do so and to finish. And I was and and my whole life was nothing but it's impossible. You'll never do it. You'll never accomplish this. You'll never accomplish that. And thankfully with the right support system that I had, throughout my life, I broke through those obstacles and I broke through that wall and I climbed that mountain. And and the reason I graduated from college is because I decided to take, put everything I had, my family, my friends, all the negativity, everything on my shoulders. And for those 4 years, just work extremely hard. And then fast forward to today, I became an assistant teacher working with middle school students. I am a podcaster. I also have my own YouTube channel. I focus on fitness, and also youth advocacy. I work with students, in our communities trying to better their lives, trying to better their families' lives, and just giving back to my community and just letting them know that regardless of anything you face in life, any obstacles, you can do it. You just can't give up. You can't give up on yourself ever. Ever. You can do anything you set your mind to.
David, it's absolutely fantastic, absolutely amazing story of overcoming of challenges. How you every day you change your reality, every day you face with this reality, and all your victories, all your overcomings. It's a real unique, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's very important for me because I'm a mother of a special child, and every day I tell to my daughter that you have to overcome everything and you can do it.
Exactly. And you as a parent, you have to overcome a lot of the not just the child side, but the adult side of things. Like you go to a school system and here in America, I don't know if over there in Georgia they have this thing called the IEP, the Individual Education Plan, where they actually give a child accommodations to help them in the classroom. I had one as a child, where I had extra time on test, uh, bigger prints on schoolwork. You have, and then if I needed anything printed, they would print it to me because sometimes on the computer it's hard to because I only type with one hand. So they would do that for me. And one of the things I'm actually doing now as a disability advocate is I'm actually going out there in the community and just coming up with these ideas to how to help out. I've been working with my local government leaders here where I live to help out with improving accessibility in our schools, our parks, buildings. Right now, we're actually working on mandating the push buttons on every door, on every building in the city where I live to have that available. We're also working on having a proclamation for World CP Day in my city. Uh, Hopefully it'll be targeted for October 10th of next year to make it official. So that way every year the parents of cerebral palsy can have a day where their child or themselves are recognized and are celebrated. Because you think about autism, you think about mental health, and those are disabilities that are often recognized and celebrated. But you don't have cerebral palsy, and it's one of the most common disabilities in the world. So one of my goals is to get that done, and then my ultimate goal is to hopefully get spread the message all over the world, which is what I'm doing now. I've spoken in hundreds of podcasts, radio stations, nonprofits, schools, universities, conferences, and in 6 different countries, and it's all going well so far, and I'm definitely enjoying it, and I hope you guys are in it with me for the ride and for to see the changes I'm willing to do, and hopefully it'll translate to everywhere around the world.
David, we have comments in our Zoom chat. Can you see it?
Let me see.
Oh, I'll read it for you. From Dinara, happy to see you all. David, thank you for this meeting and sharing with us your own way and experience. Very motivational words and story. Great. From Inara, from Kazakhstan. David, it's very inspiring and amazing. From Inessa, David, you are a hero, first of all, the hero for yourself. Thank you. Very motivating life story indeed. It's a really incredible experience. From Dinara question, I always ask our guests, how do you save your energetic and positive state? Maybe you will share with
Great
us.
question. So how do I save my energetic and positive state? So honestly, you have to remember every day is a new day. Every day is a new day. Um, and life's too short to dwell on negativity. There's a lot of people facing more difficult struggles than you are. And sometimes they might need you more than you need them. And especially when I work with the youth, with my students, there's days where I come in and I let them know, you know, we're together as a group, we're here together, and together we share uh everything, and it's okay to feel upset, it's okay to feel sad, um it's okay to feel all these emotions. And honestly, what drives me is the fact that I get to go to work every day, or I get to speak to you all, and just enlighten you with positivity and motivation, and to help you really get ahead. And it's always encouraging when I get to read messages that you just read now that make me want to keep going. That makes me want to keep going every day. And I definitely appreciate that.
David, you're wonderful. So I have a question too for you. David, tell us about your way of overcoming, pushing limits in the mind of people. How do you overcome social limits between people? Because I know from my practice that the main problem, the main border between people, it's alienation, and it's very hard. It's a real social problem. Please share with
Okay.
your experience.
Okay. So really, it's a matter of just getting out there. Like I mentioned, education is key. Um and for me, I don't know about you, but I have two different ways to approach situations. So for children, children are curious. They'll come up to me all the time. They'll ask me what happened. They'll comment the most absurd thing. But for them, I'm not as blunt, because I realize it's a child, they're curious. So I try to explain it to them on their level. I have this, I was born with this. And sometimes I'll even take the cane or walker or what I'm using that time, and I'll be like, hey, do you want to try and see how I walk or how I do things? And they'll be like, yeah, and they'll take it, they'll walk around with it. They'll be like, oh, this is hard, or they'll be like, oh, this is really cool. Like I'll get different responses. And it's funny because you see that difference of, hey, they're willing to try, but then when it comes to an adult is where the negativity comes from. So sometimes you have adults that'll be like, they'll take their child and try to shield them away from someone who's disabled. And honestly, that's very disheartening in a way. And you have to take it upon yourself to explain to the parent, hey, it's fine, they're just curious, and it's nothing to be upset or afraid about. I just look different physically, but mentally it doesn't make me different. And that's where in society we have to work on breaking that stigma, is that disabled people aren't people to be afraid of. They aren't people to be negative towards. If you if you if I myself take the time to educate them, it'll allow them to open up their mind and be more understanding, be more compassionate, um, and not be so harsh and so judgmental. Because I see it every day, whether it's a normal person, and anything, the workforce, school, relationships, anything. And like I said, education is key, and that starts with you yourself as a disabled individual getting out there.
Absolutely agree with you, David. And our work is the main subject of our work is connectedness between people, and we try to make our community inclusive and diversity. And I think it's normal, and of course, it's connected with education. Oh, I can see that Gauhar raised your hand. Gauhar, go ahead, please.
Good.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, Nargis. David, hello. My name is
Hello.
Gauhar. I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm the colleague of Nargis. I'm a mom of special needed child also. And we work for a few years in practitioner in inclusive practices team as a community as an inclusive community. And I just actually I just put it one question on the chat. I asked Nargis to read it, but now I want to ask another question. Tell us about the, maybe you have now you have like-minded people with you. Who is your partners, or who is your friend? Who are they? Do you have a team
Well,
you work with?
well, it's pretty much my family. I have a circle of friends, colleagues that I might know that I work with, that are always encouraging, with everything that I post. I have some that are very that'll pretty much follow everything that I do as far as like advocacy work and motivation and the podcast, and they're always so supportive, sharing my work and getting my name out there. And um honestly, the best support system is a support system that'll be willing to be with you every step of the way, whether you fall and you need help back up, or you're up at the highest level and you're still moving on up. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, David. Maybe Nargis, I ask another question.
Of course, go
Oh,
on.
no worries, no worries. I'm happy to
David,
answer.
I want you to ask to give some warm words, support for families who have children, who have a child with disability, who maybe just know about these different diagnoses, doesn't matter. Give them some advice.
Well, when it comes to a lot of diagnoses and disabilities, when your child's first diagnosed, of course, you're going to experience a shock. You're going to be, how could this happen? How did this happen? Is there a way to minimize the situation or make the situation better? My piece of advice is, things may be hard at first to deal with, but if you're willing and able to, or to just go along with the ride and do the bumps and the tribulations and the trials and obstacles, and just are willing to, this is a big word that I used throughout my whole life, is fight. If you're willing to fight for your child and fight for their needs and fight to give them the life that they want, you'll get there. Because that's what my stepmom did when she took over as my actual mom. She actually took over the day of my mom's funeral. She had to make a decision. Am I going to move on to live a normal life and have kids later on? Or am I going to take this child who's not even mine and give them the life that he wants, and be that parent? And it's funny because the love for me was there when she had me. It's that she wasn't sure whether she wanted to be a parent yet, even though she acted like one and she took care of me. And she chose to take care of me, and she it's funny because you mentioned that, and sometimes parents could be the first hero of your child's life. And the reason I say that is because for me, having my stepmom, she saved my life. She gave me the life that I was never supposed to have, or was not at reach. So as a parent, you are the child's first hero. You are the child's first advocate. You just fight, you continue, you love, you give compassion. You don't let negativity, the negative words, or a piece of paper, or um a physical obstacle for your child keep you from giving them what they want and what they need in that future. Because, like I said, I was a child that was never supposed to have anything. And look at me now. And I hope that for those of you that have children right now, I hope for all of you, I wish for all of you to get to where I'm at today myself for them.
Thanks a lot, David.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We're really glad to see you and hear you. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for highlighting this main idea about relationships between parents and the child, because it's very important how to realize this connectedness, social connectedness, how to motivate a child, how to grow up with a real human. And it's very, very interesting to hear it from you, from the a child view, not from view of parents.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, we have many questions in our chat, and I know that Inarочка, yes, and Fidelis, they raised their hands. Inara and then Fidelis, okay? Please, Inara.
Hello, David. I'm so glad to hear you, to see you. Your experience is very amazing. So I have two questions for you. First question, how old were you when you started your active work? Yes, I know that in addition to the channel and podcasts, you have a profession, you're a lawyer and defend human rights. How did your professional way begin?
So I started, well, this year will be 6 years ago. So when I was 26. And the reason I started it is because, you know, I thought to myself, there's so many things wrong in society when it comes to disabilities, so much ableism, you know, and a lot of people with disabilities are always being put down, you know, as far as employment. You know, you're talking about, like I mentioned earlier, accessibility and inclusion in things that we do, places that we visit, things like that. And I realized, you know, I have this disability and I also have a voice. And if I use that voice to make a difference, will people listen to me at first? No. But if you keep on speaking and just get louder and louder and louder, people will listen. And eventually I started speaking and just putting myself out there and just being, you know, passionate about the changes that I wanted to make and do. And eventually, it's all started paying off because the right people were starting to listen, and they're like, you know, you have this gift, this natural ability. Why not use it now to make the world a better place?
Oh, your answer is so inspiring. Thank you. And what other advice you give? So amazing advice to go hard as a parents. What other advice would you give to people who are actively studying the development of an inclusive community? For example, I have a brother with autism, but this is not the main reason why I am in this community. This is my profession. I feel it is my vocation, and I have practical experience working with kids, children community, and I'm also getting a master's degree in this field. I'm very interested to hear exactly your opinion and your advice on how to study effectively.
Well, it all starts with research. You know, you do make sure you do your research. Make sure you find reputable, you know, organizations. Networking is so important. You know, I like to like you guys, for instance. I had no idea about this conference until Nargis reached out to me on YouTube. And networking is so important because I'm always about meeting people, opportunities, whether opportunities present themselves. And that's the key, is just getting out there and doing your research. And if you have those resources available, reach out to those resources, build those contacts. With my advocacy, as far as like with my local government officials, the reason I got a hold of them is because they had seen me while I was working at a camp for the summer with my students. And they sat down with me and they were talking to me about how their mom has cerebral palsy, and the things he was doing in the community about, trying to better the city and the parks and all. And he's like, you know what, David, after hearing your story, after hearing what you're doing, I'd like to have a meeting with you to sit down and get your ideas and your input on what we can do to better our community and our neighborhoods. So I had a meeting with him and we discussed some ideas. And so little by little, we'll get them, out there and make the community a better place for them, for people around me.
That's great. I see that Inar is happy. Thank you, David.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Fidelis, please turn your mic.
Thank you. Oh my God. Let me get myself that abundant. Okay, thank you.
You good?
Oh, Fidelis, please
think she
don't
fro-
leave us.
I think she froze.
Yeah, some technical issues with connection.
Oh yeah, trust me, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I know.
We have a great question in our chat. May I read it for you from Camila?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. David, thank you so much for your powerful motivation. Please tell me, what is your dream?
Good question. So my dream,
Absolutely.
I would say, give or take, my ultimate goal is to hopefully become a self-employed motivational speaker, to be able to travel around the world, be able to make a difference, because I believe that education expands beyond the classroom. You can go anywhere and educate someone. So it's to be a full-time motivational speaker, to write my own book, to open up my own inclusive adaptive fitness center, and just continue with the podcast and YouTube channel, and also be able to share other individuals' inspiring stories as well. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, David. Camila, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much, David.
You're welcome.
Fidelis, can you hear us?
I'm back. My data disconnected me now. I was talking about the stories that I've seen while on this chair about kids who just come from school and all of a sudden the kids tells the mom, no, I want to die. I hate myself. I'm not okay. They keep on saying this and this about me. So I think it's good to keep on in touch with the kids. Like you say this thing of how are you? Sometimes we take it literally, but at least it helps. So it is good if you have not been with the kids like the whole day, or maybe because of work, you could be disconnected for a day or two. But I think it's good to sit with the kid like maybe on weekends, and from the kids, let the kid make you know like how he spent the week, like until you know like you are together with the baby, because all these things happen at school and the kid might come back home and you feel he's okay, maybe my baby is cool, but there's trauma inside the baby. There's a lot of things that have been said, especially when they are said from teachers and people who the kids are looking upon as parents. So I think it's good. There's been of sometimes we take some things literally, but how have you been, my baby? Can I know how you spent your day? So you went to school. How was your first lesson? Whom did you pray with you? What did your friends say? Okay, so I've seen such stories, and sometimes the kids break them when they have reached a point can't handle. Even some have committed suicide, young kids. Yeah, I think that thing of keeping in touch, even if you are not able to spend time with the baby, get yourself a weekend, have them, get to know whatever is in their mind, like you are in their mind. Yeah. And another thing, while at home, like maybe you have 2 3 kids, one is a special kid, encourage them to do things, like if the same thing, the same way others are doing the same, even if the kid will do them differently, even if the results will not be, yeah, the results will be 100% according to her condition or his condition. So encourage them to do some task, yeah, whatever way they will deliver, that is their best. Yeah, even if it will take time, be patient with them. Yeah, be patient with them. I've seen back in school, there's a time we were in a meeting of people living with disability, and there was this guy. So, and he was trying to get his word out, and you see, he's a CP guy, but they were not coming out, and still he was stammering. But I was very patient with the guy, and I could see other people look at, hey, what is he saying? Hey, he's keeping us, time. Yeah, that thing. We are the ones who can understand ourselves. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you, and thank you, Tim. I'm happy to have friends like you. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here and letting me share my story.
Thank you. Great conversation. Thank you so much, David. I have a million questions for to you. I think so.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I
David,
see
you have so many fans from Georgia and Kazakhstan and Kenya.
fan club of David now. Yeah. I see an interesting question from Dinara about your YouTube channel. Please tell us about your YouTube channel. Who are your guests and how do you find all of them? How do you make your networking, David?
Well, my YouTube channel is a little bit about everything. So it's a bit about myself, my journey. Also things that I enjoy. I've also been experimenting with cooking. I don't know about you all, but I can cook some mean pasta or anything. I can throw down in the kitchen. And a lot of people assume that people with disabilities can't cook or do a lot of things. I'm pretty much independent, so I live on my own. The only thing I can't really do is drive, but pretty much everything else I do on my own. And it took a long time to learn a lot of these skills, but with practice, practice makes perfect, right? Then where was I? Oh, my YouTube channel. So aside from the cooking, I also, post about, motivational words. If I find something interesting, like a project that I've done, and also the podcast. I actually have the podcast on video on my YouTube channel, and those guests that you see on that channel, I find it everywhere. So it could be like LinkedIn, I could be on Facebook, I could be on Reddit, I could be on Instagram. I'll find them everywhere. And they'll either reach out to me or I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, that's really cool, really interesting. And maybe some questions from our participants who would like to. Vera, message from Vera. Thank you, guys, for giving us the opportunity to see the world for real and be needed and useful. Thank you, Vera. Gauhar, comment from Gauhar. Cooking is cool.
Oh yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
very
It is cool.
important skill, I think.
Yes, and it's a great skill because in today's society you're starting to veer away from cooking. A lot of these this generation, the kids that I work with, a lot of them don't really want to put effort in like making a little something. So I'll try to order something. Even parents, parents of this generation, they're not really, they don't really cook. And it's sad because what happens if those resources are gone, you know, how are you going to survive, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Camila, please go ahead.
Hello, David. I have one question. Наргиз, поможешь, пожалуйста? Хорошо, с переводом.
Yeah, of course.
Кто сейчас вот, из родных, да, вот рядом, кто, ну, друзья, близкие, кто находится рядом и вот в деле, да, вот в деле помогает ему? Вот такой вот вопрос. Да.
Who would like to translate? Maybe go hard. Will you try?
Yeah, David, Camila asks, who from your family with you now? Maybe someone helps you, support
Well,
you.
well, I have well, funny story. My parents and I are neighbors, so their house is across from mine, about a block away. So
Sorry, I translate your answer. Его родители через дорогу живут. Я правильно, да, поняла? Наргиз, Инесса, поправьте, если не так. Окей? Подожди.
Go
Yes,
hard,
David, you can continue answer.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, my neighbors, my folks are actually my neighbors, so they live like a block away from me. So sometimes I'll go over to them or they'll come to me, and if I need help with anything, they're there. So they're a pretty good support system. I have friends that are in the area as well. Like if my parents are gone, they'll make sure, if I need anything or I'm okay, they'll drive me everywhere. And then I also take a paratransit service, which is a transportation service focused on those with disabilities, and they'll take me anywhere I need to go and help me get what I need to move forward.
Да, он
Окей, thank you.
действительно, они находятся через дорогу рядом с ним, его соседи, и они могут в любое время быть друг с другом, или он к ним, или они к нему. Вот. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. I feel like I'm learning a new language today.
Yeah. You have to learn your language, 60 language of our conference.
Right?
Kazakh,
I know
Ukrainian,
I know
Russian,
Spanish as well myself,
Swahili.
so yeah, a little bit of everything.
You are a person who like to master something. You can
Go.
learn Russian or Ukrainian,
Russian,
Georgian
maybe
language,
Kazakh.
or Kazakh language.
David, I
And,
see one very interesting, brilliant question from my colleague Nessa. She is asking you, David, please tell us about the most inspiring story from the person you met, one of your guests, for example, on your podcast.
Okay. Ooh, that is a great question. I've interviewed 60 individuals so far, and I have to say, there's one that really stuck out to me. She's a mom with CP, has two children, and she being that you're a mom with CP, it can get very difficult. It can be a handful of times to raise two children yourself, being a full-time parent. And she would tell me that my podcast and everything I would do would motivate her to really push forward and really take care of her family and try to achieve her own goals. And as we were doing our episode, something really hit me, and she had said something along the lines of, you know, before, like, moments before I found your podcast, I was thinking about contemplating suicide. And after listening to your podcast, and it made me realize I have a lot more to life than what I really thought. I have two daughters, I have a wonderful husband, and because of your podcast, you saved my life, and I owe you everything for that. And to hear that from a guest on the show while we're live is is why I do what I do, as far as like advocacy and really just motivating people.
Yeah, David. It's a value real. Thank you.
And if anyone that's currently struggling with you know suicide, please reach out to anyone, talk to someone, friend, colleague, family member, talk to someone, because if you don't speak out, or if you don't help them get the help that they need, things can get worse.
Thank you, David. It's very important words from all people. And may I ask you to say maybe some message for all participants of our conference, 60 countries, around thousands of people will see this message, will hear it. Please,
Well,
something from you.
well, all I can say is have fun. For some of you, the journey is just beginning. For some of you, you've been in this journey for a long time. What's important is uh, always keep in the back of your mind where you came from. If this is your very first conference or very first speaking engagement, it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel anxious and to be excited. But to be honest with you, at the end of it, you'll feel like this is your own family, your own community, and it'll make things a whole lot easier. And if you're out there advocating about what you're passionate about, trust me, whether you have one person listening, you have 10 people, 100 people, there's always someone out there to listen to you and to support you in your goals and your dreams. Of course, not everybody will be as supportive, but there'll always be someone there for you. And just have fun and enjoy the ride.
Thank you, David. That's great. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for this meeting.
You're
And
welcome.
I would like to continue this conversation with you, this communication. And I invite you to be a participant of our Discord platform. There we have different channels. I hope that you will overcome this issue with sound.
New obstacle. Yeah.
So I love so much one channel named Coffee Break Room. I always invite all our guests on this room with couple of coffee or glass of wine or beer, maybe cha-cha in Georgia, I don't know. So if you will have free time, please text me or text on the chat on the Discord, tag everyone, and we will join you and we will have very interesting discussion, conversation with you, okay?
Definitely.
and we can plan different activities with you. Maybe you will meet our children, our inclusive
Of course.
community. Yeah, participants from different countries. I think it
Yes.
may be very interesting. Okay.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, go hard, please.
Thank you, Nargis. I just wanted to express, to pronounce some inspired words about you, about our conversation, about our meeting. First of all, thank you all of you. Thanks, Fidelis, all colleagues, Nargis, David. We are very happy to be together now. And I just wanted to say that it's great, and I think it's great and wonderful to be a man like you. Thank you for your advices. Thank you for your example. Thank you that your reflection reflects you as a social person. Your podcast and your YouTube channel really helps to another families, to another men. And thank you for your positive. I just want to say that you have so many fans in our country now, and if you wanted to be a traveler, you are welcome. Welcome to Georgia. Welcome to Kazakhstan.
Thank you so much. That really warms my heart.
Yeah. So, David, we can add links to your work, to your podcast, maybe in the this video description on our YouTube channel of our conference. I think it will be very interesting for all participants.
Yeah.
Please send me some links from you, something interesting. Okay, we'll be in touch, David. Oh,
Definitely.
it was wonderful meeting. Thank you. I'm happy.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
David.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Don't want to say goodbye, but see you.
See you later. Yeah.
Bye.
Later.